Every so often, I'll get nostalgia for a game that I played in my youth that I think was way better than it actually was. And it turns out that my 6-year-old self was probably a little fucking stupid because Alien vs. Predator for the Super Nintendo, I'm just going to flat out say it was not a good game. It fucking sucks. And it's a game that I played a lot of as a kid. For some reason, I was at one point at 6 or 7 obsessed with the game and tried to unsuccessfully beat it multiple times. And it turns out that I don't know what was going on in my brain at that time because this game was not a game worth investing in or even trying to beat. But here we are. So in this video, I'm going to go over that game. I'm going to play it with you and show you why you probably should skip the Super Nintendo Alien vs. Predator entirely. So, just to highlight one big elephant in the room, this is not the same Alien vs. Predator that Capcom released in arcades, I believe a year after this game released. And I'm just going to highlight it like this. Those two games share almost nothing in common. They have very little similarities beyond the fact that they use the Alien vs. Predator licensing. But the thing about this game is, unlike the Capcom Alien vs. Predator, if you even want to compare the two, this game is completely devoid of anything that resembles fun. So let's get this started. One thing I do want to highlight before I start going too aggressively into this. To this day, for some reason I have some weird fondness for the music. I think it sounds cool. I think it sounds actually pretty good. So I guess that's a plus for this game. But when you get into it, and you actually start the game, my biggest issue is I get that they were trying to kind of make the whole Predator thing cool. Like here, you can go invisible, for example, right? My problem is that the actual combat just does not feel fun. It doesn't have the impact of other brawlers of this era, like Turtles in Time or of course, Alien vs. Predator of that era by Capcom. This just feels very like, I almost want to say like your guy feels bulky. Like he just doesn't feel like he's got an exciting level of combat. And you could do some things like you can jump and do a kick and stuff like that. You can pick things up. You can also periodically shoot your laser, but it always just feels like very not responsive in the way that you'd want it to be, right? The other thing I do want to highlight too is the visuals, in my opinion. I understand this isn't arcade era hardware that this is running on, or of course this is emulated, but it looked kind of ugly. It doesn't look that great. Like it looks kind of dulled out. There's some cool effects like they got going on with like the way they animated the lighting and stuff, but it just feels almost like the background's blurry and it could have been a lot sharper. My opinion, doesn't look great. And even the pickups, like you'd think maybe you're going to pick up some cool shit that's going to make this feel fun. Turns out I don't know where those are because I've never found them. I haven't really found any items where I'm like, wow, this makes the combat feel even more exciting, right? It just doesn't feel smooth in a way that I would expect from most brawlers. And I've played some pretty mediocre brawlers on the Super Nintendo. But I would say that the fact that I was obsessed with this at like 6 or 7 blows me away because this is not a good brawler. This is just really badly made. And I'm wondering if it was because I grew up poor as shit. So, you know, if I had a game, it's like I had to make that game last me like 2 years pretty much. So that was probably what was going on with this game. I was deprived of good games. So I played this shit and convinced myself it was good until I found actual good games. But here's the thing. Even when you get further into these levels, the enemy variety doesn't ever really seem like it's doing much else. Everyone just kind of lunges at you. You keep spamming your punch and your kick with your occasional pickup. And even when they have additional enemies coming on screen, there's no real different strategy. You're just doing the exact same thing. You're just spamming your attack and hoping for the best. And I want to highlight, I get that most brawlers that's the thing. You're not. These aren't like games that you're. These aren't games of like that take a high caliber of thinking, but I think what I like about the Capcom games is there's a certain level of strategy or variety to the way you approach each enemy that makes the games feel a lot more exciting. There's also that same appeal with some of the classic Konami brawlers. This game, though, it just seems like the same thing over and over and over again. And yeah, you get some tougher enemies who take more punches and more spamming of that, but it doesn't feel like I can evade out of the way a bit and do anything cool. It just feels like the same repetitive action over and over again, right? Like I'm half looking at the fucking screen and playing, and somehow I'm still beating the shit out of guys. I don't even know what the fuck's going on, right? So going even further into this, you can get to the bosses, which look kind of cool. And I don't know if I've kind of fucked around enough here that I might not even get to the boss of this one. But again, it's kind of the same rinse and repeat bullshit. You just keep spamming your attack and hoping for the best, really. So, would I recommend taking a look at this classic Alien vs. Predator on Super Nintendo? Maybe I shouldn't have used the word classic, because I don't know why there's so many fucking invisible drops. It seems like a over-the-top thing, and it also seems like they still kind of find you. Well, I guess they just don't attack you now. Anyways, would I recommend this game? Absolutely fucking not. And was 6-year-old poor me stupid as shit to be obsessed with this game? Absolutely. This game, unfortunately, guys, despite the fact that it has some kind of cool music, actually, I'll even say it has some cool sound effects, too. Despite those two things, sound effects and the music, this game is just not worth visiting. And if you really want to get your Alien vs. Predator fix, or just want to play a good beat-em-up in general, definitely take a look at the Alien vs. Predator by Capcom. But this shit, not so good. I would skip this entirely.